curious about entrepreneurship and hoping to find a money-making adventure and not sure what to do or where to start. This channel interviews the movers and the shakers in their niche. Watch the shows on this channel for more about business ideas or connect with opportunities that offer a solution to your problem. PSI TV gives the small business a bigger presence by making TV affordable. Beyond ads, biz brands can now have a channel presence with their content. We are the Netflix of biz brands. If you have a passionate message, the solution to a problem, a new book or product launch, and want to impact a new and expansive audience, have your audience say, I saw you on TV. Guys, today I am super excited. We are so proud to bring you another mega star, this time in the entertainment niche. Listen, people, if you are 70 years or younger, you know this guy. You know this guy. Listen, Cecil DC Glenn, also known professionally as DC the Brain Supreme, is a platinum-selling American rapper, DJ, songwriter, actor, and voice actor. Alongside Steve Rollin Gibson, Glenn is one half of the hip-hop pop rap duo Tag Team, best known for their 1993 hit single, say it.
Whoomp, there it is.
Glenn worked briefly for CNN before becoming a DJ at the legendary Magic City Strip Club. Inspired by early hip-hop acts such as Africa, Bambaataa, Egyptian Lover, and MC Shan, while becoming increasingly attuned to the sounds of Southern bass rappers like Shy D, Glenn and Stephen Gibson began recording together. Whoomp, there it is, spent 24 weeks on the Billboard Top 10 in 1993, shattering a record previously held by Elvis Presley. The song was first adopted as a hype song by both the Chicago Bulls and the New York Giants, and then became a beloved stadium anthem nationwide, thanks in part to its inclusion on the first installment of the popular Jock Jams compilation series. Guys, we love to celebrate Black excellence, and we have that person here today. So DC, thank you so much for being my guest today.
I am glad to be here, especially with that introduction.
Well, I want to say, guys, if you're familiar with my show, you know I don't usually have any other faces on other than myself and my guests. But when my associates heard who I was interviewing, they're like, can we say a word? And I'm like, okay, so we're abandoning our traditional format a little bit today. So you're going to see some other faces, but the focus for right now is DC himself. So let us just acknowledge the success of Whoomp, there it is. But guys, that success would not have even been possible if DC had waited to secure a deal from Columbia Records. So DC, thank you so much for being with me today. But I want you to tell these guys the story of how you shot that record yourself. And before you share that result, I want you to also speak to the artist who's been told no or is undervalued by a record deal and maybe feeling disappointed right now.
All right. Well, it all started back in the day, me and Steve met in high school, 11th grade, and Steve had a band that played in the quad every now and then, and I wanted to be in that band. And I worked in the truancy office, and I heard this choir down the hall, and it was Dr. Joyce Davis of Mayo High School in Denver, Colorado. I wanted to be in that choir. Then I went to my first high school dance, and I saw these guys with 2 turntables and a mixer and a microphone. I was like, I want to do that. And I've spent my life honing those crafts. And here I am today. And I got in the band, got in the choir, and just became good. I became diligent. I figured out ways to get better. I had lots of trials and tribulations. Like when I went to my first year in college, I thought I was the greatest DJ alive and did my first frat party. And the speakers blew and picked the wrong needle up off the turntable. And the gentlemen of Omega Sci-Fi Soul Fraternity were about to beat my butt. Okay. I talked them out of it. And at that time, I could have quit DJing because it was a horrible experience, but I tripled down and I got better. And I figured out how to get better. I figured out how to write music. I figured out how to sing better. I figured out how to rap. I figured out how to write better lyrics. I figured out everything I needed to do, but go to class, right? And do what I was supposed to do. So fast forward 4 or 5 years later, and I am one of the premier DJs in California, Sacramento, California. And I'm doing all the big parties, and all that hard work paid off. And I'm making songs because I got a 4-track, which for all you youngins, if you don't know, is basically, you know, Pro Tools in a box with a cassette. You have 4 tracks. That's it, right? So Steve moved to Atlanta to go to the Art Institute and get an education on music. And I went down to visit him in Atlanta. And I went to this club called Magic City. And I came back to Sacramento, packed my stuff, and I graduated, packed my stuff. I knew I was moving to Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta, and I actually was trying to get it. I had a job at CNN, but I was like, I can DJ a little bit because the DJ was horrible that day that I went back. And this is like 89. And I saw the owner and I was like, hey, you need a DJ? He was like, I don't need a DJ, but come see me Monday. When seen him Monday, he was like, I don't need no DJ, but I need a cook. You can be the cook and the backup DJ. So I went upstairs, cooked, ordered chicken wings, made 2 salads, and the daytime DJ was like, hey man, I gotta go run some errands. Can you DJ for me? And I'm like, why did you do that? And I got on the wheels of steel, and they heard this voice, and we got the party started, and they made money they had never made before. And I was the head DJ instantly. And fast forward, we're still making hip hop, we're still making music. But I realized that we were never going to get out of the Southeast because Southeast was about bass music, right? The up-tempo stuff. So I had with the Steve, I was like, we'll never get out of here if we don't make something up-tempo. And he was like, I don't know how to make that stuff. I was like, nope, just think Planet Rock and Egyptian Lover, right? That's the nucleus. And we made the song. I had a song called Whoomp, There It Is I was working on. And we went to the studio, and that night I went to work, popped the cassette in. And to this day, it is the biggest response on any record I've ever played. And I've been a DJ for 30 years, right? So my hubris as a young man, I'm like, every record I make is going to be bomb. So I started playing it, right? And fast forward about, this is the summer of 92, fast forward 4 months. One of the girls was like, how come you don't play that Whoomp There It Is anymore? I was like, I'll play it. And I played it again. The same thing happened. And this time, one of the record reps was in the audience. A friend of mine, Alan Cole, worked for Columbia Records. He was like, what is that? It's like, that's my new record. And he was like, man, give me it. I'm about to go to New York. I'm going to let them hear this. Then I get a call from Columbia Records. Columbia Records is like, hey, we like that. I'm like, this could work for everybody. So I know all the record company reps. So I sent it to everybody. Now I got all the major labels saying, hey, we like that record. But back then it was just New York and LA. And they didn't know what to do with that type of music. So they were giving me the runaround, and I almost gave up. And a lady named Lisa McCall said, you need to talk to Al Bell. He had the Daisy Dukes records last year, and it went gold. And for those who don't know, at the beginning of soul music, there were 3 record companies, Philly International, Motown, and Stax Records. Al Bell owned Stax Records. So I gave him a call. I said, you know, and he took him about 2 weeks to call me back. I forgot. And he called me, and I was like, look, man, I got a hit record. I'm in the hottest club in the country. You need to sign us. And he was like, okay. And I was like, don't play with me. He's like, I was like, no, you haven't even heard the record. And I'll never forget these words. He said, brother, I don't have to hear the record. I hear it in your spirit. Let's agree to agree and get this thing moving. And then I gave my 2 weeks in Magic City, signed a messed up record contract, and in a month and a half, we were platinum, and the rest is history.
Well, it's not quite history. It's very, very recent and current. So it's not quite history yet, not quite history at DC. So speak to, because you shopped it around, because I mean, these, you know, Columbia Records was, as you said, messing with you. They weren't picking it up right away. And you just flat out told these people, hey, you got to sign it. Talk to the artist who's been told no, who feels like you said, you almost gave up. who feels undervalued right now, maybe even a bit disappointed?
Well, first thing is you have to take your emotions out of it, right? Once you take your emotions out of it and swallow your ego and swallow your pride and sequester it, then your mind is open to creativity because there are 10,000 ways to be successful. You just have to figure out the custom one for you. So the first thing is that you can never give up, right? I don't care, despite the fear, despite the loathing, despite the disappointment, never give up because you just never know, right? You just never know how it's going to happen. And for me, you know, if I were to, you know, me telling artists what to do, this is what I do. When people come to me and say, DC, help me, man, put me in the game. I'm like, all right, I got something for you. Got a book that I want you to read. And if you can't read or don't want to read, I got a video for you in this little file. I send them the file and they're like, aren't I supposed to go to the clubs and do this and do that? Aren't I supposed to? I'm like, if you want my help, you read this and then hit me back. And 90% of people never hit me back. For the ones that do, then I know they're serious. I'm like, hey, so this is what this is about, because they don't quite understand. And even when I explain it to them, they're like, so how is that relevant? And I'm like, what you don't understand is I gave you the back end first, because the back end is, what do you have when all the fanfare is gone? The front end is the money, the cars, the clothes, all that stuff. But the back end is, what do you have when it's over? And all you have is your rights and your music publishing. So I gave them a guide to understand music publishing. And then I tell them, I have full confidence that you will never get taken advantage of in the music industry, because you can have a mediocre song and then you can license it forever and it becomes a pension plan for you. But everybody wants to be a star and they don't think like that. So that's where it lies in the problem. So there's all kind of different ways and different tactics to get what you want. You could just never get, and you can't be tied emotionally to it. And you don't expect anything from it. There is no quid pro quo, right? You're planting all these seeds. You don't plant a seed and sit down and look at the seed and like, grow seed. I need you to grow seed. Why aren't you growing seed? The seed don't work. I quit. We all know people like that because we've been like that at times. What they don't realize is life doesn't work like that. You plant that seed and keep it moving, because that's what makes you quit, is when your expectations get dashed. And now every time you try to do something and you lose, or you think you've lost, you don't even really understand if you had kept going. This is part of the process of preparation to mastery, right? So that's what I tell young cats when they're, you know, trying to figure out the music industry, trying to get into the game. But it's hard because youth is wasted on the young. And they want to be stars, because I want to be a star. And that's a very, very strong emotion to overcome. But if you just make a couple of different, you know, calculations and just think differently, you can have everything you want.
You know, I want to tap into some of what you just said. Creative people, you know, we have the left brain, right brain people, and creative people tend to be more on the emotional side. They're very connected with their emotion, which is why they are so creative. And you are one of the rare breeds, because I did a show some time ago with a lawyer for artists, and we were talking about, you know, all the greats and how they, you know, so many people leave money on the table. Artists leave money on the table because they're so emotionally connected to their work. They cannot have that logical or that business acumen side, which I always encourage people, you need to have an agent or a lawyer, because especially if you're that emotionally connected. But I also want to pick up on what you talked about, that seed and that back end and sticking with it. So guys, remember those things. I'm sure they'll come up again. So DC, everybody knows about, you know, your hit and everything. You had the social proof that night at Magic City. So that hustle paid off. You went platinum. Now I want to tell guys, the true test of gold is that even under fire, it remains gold. Like I said, my 4-year-old granddaughter knows, if she doesn't know DC, she knows his music. She knows Whoomp, there it is. Okay. So it has reemerged. It is now very, very current. It's always been there, but it's kind of reemerging again, and it's been repurposed recently into a Geico jingle. I want to talk to that for a moment, but as you talk about that, talk about how emerging artists can repurpose.
Are filled with people who love their profession, that have been doing it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and they can't wait to tell you about their profession. And they have all the resources, they have everything. So I said, I'm gonna be my own damn publicist. And I joined the Public Relations Society of America. 2 days in, I'm on a Zoom call. I said, a press release is relevant. This is during Super Bowl week. And they're like, well, what's it for? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of featured in a national Geico commercial called Scoop, There It Is. And they're like, I'm looking at the chat and like, wait a minute, that can't be him. Is that him? Oh my God, I love that commercial. My kids love that commercial. Blew the whole chat up. And the moderator's like, all right, back to DC's question. Our press release is relevant. And the CEO of this firm was like, yes, because the whole last year has been COVID. Every story has been about COVID. The whole last year, everything has been political. And here you guys come throwing sprinkles and spinning scoops and dancing in DC or smile. And of course that press release is going to work. You're going to go here for all the publicists. You're going to go here for all the journalists. You're going to go here for all the TV talk shows. You're going to go here for all of the podcasts. You're going to make sure your pictures are like this. She gave me the entire breadth of her experience in 10 minutes. And I have not looked back, and it has opened doors for me I could have never thought possible. And is the reason that you and I are talking right now. Because I changed my tactics. I learned how to learn. I didn't give up. I played offense, and I kept my hustle going. That's it.
Amen. Amen. All right. Well, Whoomp, There It is not your only success. It might be your most famous, but it is not your only success. Tell us about some of your other successes. You had some other hits. They may not have been as popular, but you had some others.
Yeah, but you know, those are, we've done shows, but it all goes down to Whoomp, right? So Whoomp, There It is the genesis of all of it.
Okay.
And we've been doing NBA halftime shows forever. We've been doing NFL halftime shows forever. So we've been working forever. But a couple of the songs, they were good early, but as time went along, it was always the
time stamp value.
Whoomp, There It is going to be the nostalgia, right? So the key to it is working within the 90s and working within nostalgia to always take people back to those memories, right? And try to create new memories with new generations, right? And, you know, I knew that it's always been a fear of mine that Whoomp, There It is was going to fade. So I was like, you have to become something else. And I started running my life like a corporation. So I became very business savvy. I was at the club, and at the club, I said, you know, what can I do to be in the corridor? Because I read this book, and it was like, get in the corridor. If you want to own a pie shop, go work in a pie shop, and they'll, learn how to do it, and then do your own corporation, your own pie shop, and franchise it and sell it for $20 million, right? That's what the dude did. And I said, okay, let me do that. Put a business plan together, a marketing plan, and went to my boss and gave her a PowerPoint presentation, and she cut me a check for $25,000. And now I'm in the corridor because now I get to practice marketing. I'm not just your DJ. I am your light guy. I am your tech guy. I am the guy that does your voiceover. I'm the guy that does your television commercial. I'm the guy that does all your fashion photography. I'm the guy that does your flyers and your graphics. I tell people, when you're in a job that you don't like, flip it and learn how to do everybody else's job. Because what you do in essence is make yourself invaluable. So if you feel like you have no trajectory in that company, it's not about the trajectory in that company. It's about your trajectory as an individual. So when you learn how to do everybody else's thing and acquire those skills, you create a massive toolbox. So your transition to the next thing is smooth. And the next thing is bigger and bigger and bigger, because you've acquired the tools over years to become better. And that's the glass half full, not the glass half empty. The glass half empty, like, I ain't about to do all that. I'm about to do all that extra work. Well, you're going to be stuck for a long time. And that's what I've always done. And once I was doing all those things, I'm like, wait a minute, I like voiceover. Let me start training voiceover. It was hard, but I didn't quit. And then I get signed with an agent. And then because I'm on an agency, one of the biggest in the Southeast with voiceover, the owner comes in while we're having a meeting and says, hey, I like your face. Put him on camera. Now I'm an actor, right? Once I took my first acting class, this is 2017. This is recently. I'm like, I love this. And then when I see something I want, I go hard. I try to condense the path to my success. You know, instead of 1 class a day, I'm taking 2 classes a day, right? Instead of 7 a week, I'm taking 10 a week because I need to get from point A to point B as fast as I can. So you condense it and you just learn how to learn within that process. And I'm telling you, everything went well into the pandemic because I booked a Pizza Hut commercial and then the pandemic happened. And the pandemic is kind of is like the best thing that ever happened to me. The other side is the other side, right? But as from a growth perspective, it forced me to stop. All of us had to stop. It's like, we're all in the Serengeti together now. What are you going to be, predator or prey, right? And I reinvented myself. I can't do this, can't do that, can't that, but I can do this. And I recorded all my voiceover stuff and I went back and reinvented myself. And for the first time, I had mastery over my voice. And I started booking. Then I got my first movie, right? In Nebraska during the pandemic. Then I got my second movie, third movie, a television show, 3 or 4 voiceovers, a fall campaign for a grocery store. And then here comes Geico. And everybody thinks it's because of Geico I got it, but it's not because of Geico, it's because of the hustle. I did all that before Geico. So now Geico adds another level to it that takes me on a whole nother level. And every day I do this so I can throw out things to the universe and not expect anything back because there is no quid pro quo.
Planting seeds.
Plant seeds. This is what I want. I ask people all the time, what do you want? And they can't even tell me. Isn't that amazing? They can't even tell me because they hadn't even thought about it. And they're like, well, DC, what do you want? I'm like, I want it all. Like, DC, you can't do everything. You can't do this. You can't do that. I was like, you know what? You're right. But I sure enough can be prepared for everything. Like, oh, that makes sense, DC. I just shake my head. I'm like, the very thing you just disapproved of, you now approve of, said differently because preparation is doing everything. Preparation is everything because you're prepared, even if it's something that comes, even if it's a seed that was planted 10 years ago and comes back as a redwood and the branch falls and hits you on a tree to bless you. You're prepared because you planted that seed. You knew what you wanted, right? And I just think like that. I think, I don't think about the problems. I solve the problems and the excuses. You know, they say, don't hang around negative people. Wrong. You don't have to. But I love hanging around negative people because they give me fuel, because they give me excuses and they give me their problems. And then I'm thinking solutions. So I always ask them that. What are the solutions? You told me the problem. What? What's the solution? No, man, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about that. I'm like, look, what's the solution? And what I do is I look at a solution, highest pie in the sky, or what I want. Far-fetched, fantastical. Like, you can't do that. Yeah, you're right. But what if I inch my way back? That's still kind of out there. We'll inch my way back a little bit more. If I did that and this, made this move, maybe I could get there. And what you do is you inch your way back to practicality. And what you've just done is built a reverse business plan with a step ladder to your goals and dreams. Because you figured it out and you've seen it and you saw your vision and you made the steps to get there. It's about how you think about things. It's about how you control your thoughts and control your emotions and deal with the data, deal with what's in front of you. And then you just have tactics and you just keep hustling. And right now, I'm live a blessed, happy life. And all I'm trying to do is talk to anybody who's willing to listen, to tell them things I wish someone had told me when I was a young man. Well, I probably wouldn't have listened.
Person's listening is my 19-year-old son. He's on this line. He does have a question for you, but you segued right into my next question, DC. We have the entrepreneurially curious. That's usually my usual audience base, but you've strongly spoken to the entrepreneurial mindset today. So I want you to put your mentor cap on based on what you just said. If there was a young person interested in making a career in this entertainment space, what would you actually share? Let's not forget, you did say go read this book and watch this video. Throw the name of it out there again.
I mean, it's just, I have like several things. It's about music publishing. Learn everything you can about music publishing, because that's all that matters. When they make you sign a record deal, they throw all this other fluff your way, give you an advancement. But what's most important is that the music publishing, they get to control who uses it, for what, and how much you get for it. If you don't control that, you really have nothing, because that $150,000 you just got, you got to pay that back, because it's called recoupment, right? And artists don't realize that. So learn about music publishing and you will always be okay, because you'll always have, and never sign your administration over. Administration rights are, okay, I'll let the record company do my administration rights because they're fair and they'll pay me. But what they'll do is they'll say, hey, you owe us money for this, so we're going to take it out of your publishing. And then they can do that forever. And then they can always outlast you in legal battles because they're record companies. That's what they do. So learn about music publishing and you will always be okay.
I'm going to open up the line because we do have a couple of people who did want to talk to you, Glenn, DC. So I'm going to actually, do the mommy favorite thing. And I'm going to start with Daniel, my son. Daniel, can you ask DC your question?
Hello. I wanted to ask, how did you get noticed when you were starting out? And it's sort of two questions, because I wanted to know, if you were to like restart your entire career in this decade when there's like social media and everything, what would you have done differently?
If I were to start again, I wish first of all, you have to have that, you have to have it in your heart. I don't have it in my heart to go through that again. But I always say, but I have it in my heart to make music. I don't have it in my heart to be an artist again. But people think there are so many ways to make music. Right? There are so many ways to be successful, because if you know how to make music, you don't have to be an artist. You can do jingles. You can make songs for soundtracks. You can do all kinds of things that get you paid and get you notoriety, because if you submit beats and songs and stuff to ad agencies, well, if Apple likes this song and they got the Apple account and uses your song, then you let them do the work for you. And think about it. During the playoffs, you always hear these beats and these songs during the commercials through that time period. And you're like, man, that's a dope beat. And then you start hearing it more and then the song comes out, you figure out what the song is. Now it's a hit record. You didn't have to do any work, right? There are all kinds of ways to do it. But if I had to do it again, I would crush it, because I know SEO. I know search engine optimization. Search engine optimization is learning about Google and how to get on the first page of anything you want. I know about Wikipedia pages. I know about Wikidata. I know about schema, JSON LD markup. All these things are the things that you need to have to get in front of the people that want your services. Because most people see marketing as, okay, carpet bomb, I want everybody to like me. Everybody look at me. Everybody like me. But you don't need everybody to like you. You need people who want to engage with you. Who are the people that want to buy your product? Who are the people that want your services? Who are the people that want your production capabilities? You have to be strategic and put yourself in front of those people. And then all you need is 10. And they take care of you for the rest of your life. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And it's just different ways to do it. So the first thing I would tell everybody, if you learn about SEO and mastery, because it took me 10 years, because it's a moving target. But now if I drop the record, I could get it everywhere I needed to get it instantly and not have to pay a dime, because I learned it the hard way. Does that answer your question?
That answers the second half, but I also want to know, when you were starting out, what did you do back then to get more attention on yourself?
So I made mixtapes. Like I would come home to Denver from college, and I would make a bunch of mixes and a bunch of songs, and then I go back to Sac State and I'd sell them to everybody, right? Or I'd get some cassettes printed up, and I'd come back and there'd be a festival at the park, and I'd sell them in the park. And then we get on the radio. There were little AM radio stations, and local radio stations. And whenever there was a chance to get on, we do that. If the Broncos went to the Super Bowl, we made a Super Bowl song. So people have been knowing about tag team for a long time. And it's all hustle. That's all it is hustle. And building relationships. And we're from Denver, Colorado. There's no music scene in Denver, Colorado. But during that time when you're doing that, you have to hone your skills. You have to educate yourself. You have to be prepared. So when you do get that opportunity, it doesn't consume you and you can handle it and your mind is clear and you can make moves to take you to the next level and the next level and the next level. So it goes from passing out flyers and putting them on people's car because you weren't born back then. So back then, you know, we come from the day where you had to pick up the phone and be like, hey, man, what's up? Can I come over? There was no texting. There were no cell phones. It was all I come from the caveman days, but I come from the beginning of hip hop, right? Where it was like you go to the club or you go to the corner or you go to the community center and we party and have a good time and honed our skills and got better. And if you were the better DJ, the whole community knew about you. If you got really good, the whole state knew about you. So it was about doing as much as you can, sometimes for free, and imprinting and developing your audience, developing your crowd, building your relationships. And if you're not willing to do that footwork, you're just wasting your time. So that's how we used to do it.
DC, we have a couple other questions. Archie had a question. Archie, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing me on to do that. I wanted to know, and first off, props to you as far as for talking about just reading, because I have a book that I've kept with me since high school, and it's actually Everything You Need to Know About the Music Business by Passman. And like that's my, so I'm so glad when you said that. But what I want to know is like, what's the, since you've kind of answered it along the way, but I want to know, what was the biggest mistake that you made and what did you learn from that mistake that helped you going forward?
Biggest mistake we made was signing administration rights to the record company. Right? But I wouldn't have changed it because look where I'm at now. It's 28 years later. And I'm with one of the biggest insurance companies in the world. And I got my own ice cream. And we're doing show after show after show. I'm an actor. I'm a voice artist. Because there are no mistakes. There are no missed opportunities, right? Everything that you beat yourself up over for years, you can correct that as long as you breathe it, right? Yeah, like I'm sitting in the bowels of Disney in 1996 and I'm teaching Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse how to rap, right? The husband and wife team of Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, I'm teaching because we did a Disney record because we're a clean rap group. That doesn't happen if we're a clean rap group. So despite all the hardships, we get to do that. And that started my voiceover career. But then I was like, I used to beat myself up because I was in that opportunity and I was there, but I was like, I'm Whoomp, there it is. I don't, you know what I mean? Because I'm a young man. Right, and I beat myself up for years, but then I corrected it because now I can do This Week on NBC. You see what I'm saying? I do voiceover. I can do animation. I can do ADR. I can do commercial voiceover, narration, all of it. And there are no mistakes. There are no missed opportunities. And it's okay because sometimes in life, you're just not ready, right? But if you don't, if it's something you want, don't ever quit. Keep honing that skill. They said, DC, you're a jack of all trades, master of none. I was like, yeah, because I'm a hustler. But what happens if you live long enough, hustle hard enough, learn how to learn, you become masterful with those trades. And they all come back to serve you in ways you can never imagine.
That's key.
And you don't even know that it's happening because you've put in the work. So don't let nobody tell you can't do something. Don't let nobody all the mistakes are mistakes. Like we got a messed up record contract. Record company went bankrupt. Another record company bought it. Now 2 record companies are fighting, trying to battle for the rights. And we're the pawns in the middle. I could have quit and just been like, man, I ain't messing with this. But that's what makes people old and bitter. Don't be old and bitter. I looked at the glass half full, not half empty. I said, I am going to take this opportunity and learn how to do this. what are they doing on this side? What are they doing on this side? I mirror both sides and figured out what they're trying to do to win this case. So in essence, I basically became a paralegal. I crossed my T's, got dotted my I's. I knew I had my day in court. And I started putting together all the paperwork that I had, all the discovery. So when it was time for me to have a lawyer, which is 15 years later, I gave him a big box of discovery. That cut down on half the cost of my legal fees. And they came up with 5 different ways to prevail because I kept going. I learned what emotion was. I learned how you get in a district court to have a trial. I learned all these things. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be sitting here where I'm, right now with all the stuff, doing all the things that I have with 10 other things in the hole that are going to be even bigger than what I'm doing now. Right. So never quit, never get up, play offense. If Jordan shoots 30 shots and misses all of them, he's going to shoot 60 more. And if he misses all those, he's going to shoot more, but then he's going to start making a couple and then he's going to make a bunch and then he's going to win 6 championships. You see what I'm saying?
Dan Pay, he had some questions for you.
Sure.
Yes, hello. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm really honored to be here and honored to hear your knowledge. You answered a lot of my questions already, but I did want to ask you, you're from Tag Team. So I wanted to ask you, how important is the team that you keep around you? And how important or how influential do you feel your energy has been towards the team that's around you?
I really don't have a team. I do, but I don't. I do everything myself. I'm our booking agent. I am our travel agent. I do everything because the key to it is that when you learn how to do everything, then you can build a team, because there's going to come a point where you can't do everything. So then you teach people how to do things for you, then they become part of your team. But if they mess up or don't do it right, you can always jump in and do it because you learned how to do it. So when I outsource, I'll give 10 people the same project because I need to see how they adapt to this project. I need to see who's going to do it quick, who's going to do it slow, who's going to give me excuses, who's going to be lackadaisical about it. And that's how it took me years to figure all that out. But that's how I build teams. So, another learn how to learn was I wanted to start doing shows and, the teams, right? And I'm like, I want, can we be on your roster? I called everybody. They're like, well, you only got 1 hit. And, it's been a long time. And I was like, okay. And I joined the International Entertainment Buyers Association, which are the buyers, not the promoters. I went to the top of the food chain. You got the buyers, then you got the venues, then you got your big mom and pops, which is Live Nation, iHeartRadio. Then you got your mom and pops, the very people that were telling me that I can't do it. You got your managers, then you got me. I cut out the middle. I'm at their convention, 5,000 strong. Me and Chubby Checker, the only black dudes in there. I'm wearing a big Whoomp, there it is t-shirt, billboarding myself. And then I start networking. Next thing you know, I'm doing rodeos, I'm doing casinos, I'm doing state fairs, I'm doing all these things because that 1 hit was perfect for somebody who needed that. See, it's not about finding the masses and saying, please help me. It's about finding the people who need what you have and getting yourself in front of them to give them the idea that they need you. That's why this is a beautiful time in my life, because I'm on TV every day and I get a call every day. Can you come do it? Can you come scoop ice cream for these kids for this amount of money? Can you be in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade for us? Can you throw out the first pitch at the White Sox game? The sheer magnitude and the variety of things that I get to do now because of the hustle I can do for the rest of my life. I hope that answers your question.
I'm going to ask Tayari, did you have a question or a comment?
Hey, how you doing, man?
What's that, man?
All right. Good to be on with you, man. I was telling our host, true story. I have a picture. I don't know, it must be 20 years old. I was at the time a custodian, and in my picture, I got the hat, and it's Whoomp, there it is. And I still got the picture. I got to send it to you one day.
By the way, DC, Tayari has another channel, and I think he may want to talk to you on his channel.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm all open. Whatever you want to do, we good. I got you.
Definitely do want to do that. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm always about integrity, man. My thing is dealing with people with integrity. You know, at the end of the day, I want people that want to continue and can see the value in you know, being on the team that I'm on or the team that we're with together. You know, coming to the table and that sort of thing. So my question is, what would you say is the biggest challenge to maintaining integrity in this entertainment industry?
For me, my mother and father, because, you know, there are a couple things my mother and father did for me that I'll never be able to repay them back. And one is my hustle, because I've been stemming collard greens and shucking peas since I was 5 years old. My mother had a prep cook. My father made me wash cars, mow the lawn, all those things. And we had chores and they made us work. And because of that, I do not fear work, right? So my integrity is out of bounds, plus my faith. I was raised by a community, right? I was raised by people in the community who looked out for me, who taught me, who nurtured me. Right. My father is a PhD, but he was off being a PhD. So the community raised me. Right. And as you grow up, you're young, you make mistakes, you do dumb things. But as you get older, you realize that to disappoint them is sacrilege. Right. And then, I mean, I'm a faith dude. I was an altar boy when I was a kid. Right. I came up in the church. So, you know, I'm Catholic, but I'm a Black Catholic, and it's a difference because we follow the Catholic faith, but we get down like Baptists, right? So it's the best of both worlds, and that shaped me. And for me, the DJ booth is most important of all, because in the DJ booth you get to watch everything. I'm driving the bus, I get to see it all from a different perspective. I'm on the outside looking in, and I watched how artists treated people. I've watched them rise and fall, and I watched the people that they treated like crap would revel in their demise when they fell, and they never returned. They never could come back off of it. And I vowed that I would never be that person, ever. And then my father would just talk to me. He's like, "Hey man, I'm proud of you. You're doing this Whoomp There It Is thing. Let me tell you something. Don't ever chase it. Don't ever let it control you. Because that's when it's over. That's when you're gonna fall, and you're gonna find yourself in compromising positions." And all these little things, my father, every time I talk to him, he's like, "Don't do nothing stupid." All these little things make me who I am. And over time, I just learned to give, because my motto is you give what you want first, right? And don't worry about it. And that has a lot to do with who I am and my integrity, and just being professional, be on time. You got to let people see you hustle. You got to Geico loves us because they know that they picked the right one. And all that's integrity, right? That's who you are. If we were just getting drunk and showing up late and all that stuff, it'd been over 6 months ago. But because they know they got the right one, this thing could go on forever.
DC, we're coming up on an hour, and that's been awesome. I want to ask, is there anything else in your heart that you want to leave with us?
Hey, I think I've got it all out. Just don't ever quit. You know, stay out of your emotions. Like, I love being wrong, because being wrong is the path to being right. And being wrong kills your ego and your pride. You know, you can admit you're wrong, it's going to tear you up inside. I was wrong. But now your mind is open and clear to the creativity and all the blessings that are out there for you, because you're not stuck in your own crap, right? It's just a way of thinking. Think differently. You know, think both sides of it. You know, what if this happened? What if that happened? You got to hash things out. And you can't be emotionally attached to it, and you can't expect anything of it. And you'll find that things start happening over time that keep you on a trajectory to places you never thought you could go. And that's just my message. Just don't quit. Just figure it out and keep moving. And then join the organization, because you can join, you don't even have to join the organization. Just look at the organization and call the people in the organization and talk to them. Why should I join your organization? Just like the pitch thing. And they're going to pitch you and you're going to learn. And then in 2 weeks, you'll know if that you'll know if that path is for you, because you'll know if you want to put that much work into it or not. And there's organization for everything that you want to do.
You see, my son's been trying to write a song with his friend for a long time. They've made a bunch of little tunes and sounds and stuff like that. But they haven't quite actually made the song. Is there any tips for that? I know he didn't ask it. I was surprised he didn't ask it.
Finish the song. He's trying to make it too perfect. Finish the song and then go to the next song and then the next song.
Better than perfect. Daniel, are you ready?
Yeah.
Go to the next. Okay, so what's your holdup? Let me ask you that.
When I'm working by myself, I can make things, but when it comes to like having two people trying to work on something together, two perfectionists working on something is a little bit of a
I didn't ask you that. I asked you what is the obstacle?
Right now, it's sort of just like getting it done. Like the ideas, putting down ideas is easy, but like getting it recorded, making sure it's like
do you got the beat?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's not done.
Do you got the hooks?
Partially.
Do you have your lyrics?
Not yet.
Okay, so you have what do you want that song to be about? Right? And this is what I do. This is what it took me. I'm a better rapper now than I've ever been. I take the beat, let the beat play, and I just riff and I record myself. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just riffing and vibing to the music. And then I just stop and then I'll go back. And if I got one good line, I take that line, I write it down. And then I do it again. You might be in the car, you might be somewhere else. The next thing you know, you got a 16. That's masterful because your head wasn't into it. You're just enjoying your beats. That's how you do it. And if you sit down there and try to write and you're not used to writing, it's going to be difficult. If you get stuck, use a rhyming dictionary. Or you could do it, you can make it easier for yourself. You could do 4 measures of 8 as opposed to 3 16s, right? Or you could do more party chants. You could do anything you want to do. It is your record. You do it how you want. Everybody thinks Whoomp, there it is, was this big Manhattan project, and we had on lab coats and we were coming up with theorems and formulas, and Whoomp, there it is, was just a song. And we made a bunch of them, but that's the one that stuck. So you got to make a bunch of songs, man. Finish them. Don't try to be perfect because that'll never work for you. You've already wasted time and don't have a song done. That kind of defeats the purpose, don't it? Right? So I would say just finish. People always ask me, DC, how do you control fear and how you do those? Like, you can do both. You be scared, but you keep it moving. So you and your friend can be perfectionists, but you got to keep it moving. You got to play offense. You can't stop. If it don't work, it don't work. You can always come back to it because you might have something later for it, but get it finished. And then you'll finish another one and another one. And then you're going to get better because you're putting in the reps. It's all practice.
Like I know Public Enemy used to do that as well. Like they would just turn on the camera and just be in the room, just jamming and go back and just watch the video footage and just pull stuff from that.
Pull stuff from it.
It definitely works.
Yeah, because that gives you leapfrog to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. Next record done. Because I could do a soundtrack. I could do, say I do a Christmas song, because that's all I'm worried about is Christmas songs, because that's an evergreen product that get used every year. You can license it every year. So I tell everybody, I got a Christmas song, everybody. And they're like, you know what? DC need to sit his old ass down. He's doing good. He was doing good. That's, now perception is reality. But if that Christmas song is in a Walmart commercial or ad agency or in a movie soundtrack for a Christmas movie, then people are listening to that record and they're like, who is that? I'm like, that's DC from Tag Team. Man, he's still making money. Which way would you rather be perceived? Right?
Exactly. For sure.
So I'm trying, right now, if I make a song, I'm not trying to put it out there. I'm trying to go to an angel investor, see who's on their roster. Then I go to that company. I say, let me help you with your marketing. I got a song I think that's perfect for what you guys are trying to do. And I'm like, you don't even got to pay me. Just pay me in stock.
Yeah.
And then when that company goes public, hey, you might be able to cash out at $100 million. There are different ways to do it. It doesn't matter what your song is about. So you're emotional. You want people to like you. And it's not about this, it's about business. This is about where can I place my music that I sweat and bled over to where I can get my future secure, right? But we're human and we want to be stars and it happens. So you just have to navigate those waters. So that's what I leave you with. Oh, before I go, I just want to thank you for letting me come over here and run my mouth. And, you know,
so happy you did.
I appreciate it because I learned more from running my mouth. I done got 15 new ideas already, right? So it's just like, I appreciate it. And sprinkles! Always got to leave with that one.
How can folks get in touch with you?
That's an SEO thing. It's a little lesson for you. Make sure all your social media is consistent. So for me, DCGlennATL across every platform, or TagTeamWhoomp across every platform. Then the search engines will find you. They will consolidate you. So if anybody types in your name, they can find you.
Guys, there you have it. PSI TV has brought you Cecil DC Glenn, and whoop, there it is, the star till this day. And we believe it to be evergreen. And thank you so much for entertaining my people who wanted to talk with you today and for giving us your time. And we just are so grateful. Thank you so much.
You got it.